Hi, Lynette.
Hello. Hi, Deanne. How are you?
I'm getting there. How are you?
Hi. I don't, but thank you. I liked it too. She keeps arguing with us. I thought it was super cute.
I think it looks sassy. I think it looks cute. Sassy and cute.
I was going for refined and
You were not.
yeah, it was.
Okay,
I wasn't going for anything, I just said fix it. Hi, how's it going?
I'm trying to think of,
Is there a note taking on that?
trying to think of the address.
Thank you. You know, but it's a hot topic, like lodging tax.
I'm horrible with names.
I thought I should ask.
That's Dana. I'm Craig.
Hey, I got a question to ask you. How are you?
How are you?
If you know off the top of your head, for further conversation, not why you're here necessarily, how many employees does a Meet and Brittany have at the hotel? Guess, best guess, 10, 20, 30, 40, 105?
20 and 30,
Okay, and they have 70 some odd rooms?
77.
Okay, and so 25-ish,
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good average.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that sign for you guys just outside in the hallway down there.
Texted, you've got to.
And you can just grab it.
A net, is it a net Benny?
No, baby.
No, we have.
A net Benny?
You can just grab it where you're out.
Okay, Mary,
Thank you.
Mary, that's who you look like, Annette Benning.
Yeah,
That, she had a style like that. So
I know, isn't it cool?
My hair tie.
If you're going for
like Bryce has to.
sophisticated and, you know.
I love it.
No,
Everyone else-
It's gotta get healthy, so we started from scratch, it's short as.
Okay.
Everybody else loves it. She does
Well,
not.
I love it too.
Yeah.
Husband hates it.
All men hate short hair. Or most men hate
Many.
short
This
hair.
husband has learned to love all
There you go.
hair.
Or at least say
Whatever hair walks through the door, I'm like, nice.
Hey.
Smart.
I used to take a razor to my hair, but I would add my finger to it just so, because you could never get it long enough for me. And then I would put it on the longest one and, you know, I mean, buzz it, but it wasn't really buzzed. So it was
Right.
basically like that length. And
Yeah.
it just has enough, you know,
Well, I never had curly hair,
but it has.
not a curl in my head.
Yeah.
And as she cut the long pieces off,
All of a
I,
sudden it got,
Sure.
wow.
so I don't know what I did there, but. Oh, this girl over there.
Hi there, John. That's you.
Okay, just making
That's
sure.
you.
Good. How you
She
doing
looks
now?
like it.
Looks so good.
I told her it looked sassy. I thought it was cute.
And there's this woman I see on TikTok and she's got short hair and she did this, she's like, oh, I hate this. And she tried all these different things. So I'll send you a link. They were all really cute and she liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and she
easy.
does this little like, you kind of loop it together here for a little bit in it.
Oh, don't be.
I have baby hair, so it's don't even stay.
Oh, yeah, they make it look like it's so easy. It really is not easy.
If I could find some little Velcro clip, like, put it into a baby's hair.
Yeah.
Only it didn't have little curls that would be all.
That's what's nice about like this going on.
Yep. At least.
We're all the best people here. We
We're
are
good.
talking about
We're
here.
good. Had to shake hands with Senator Hickenlooper today.
His honor himself.
And, yep, I
Was he up
reminded
here in
him,
town?
he was in Idaho Springs.
Okay.
He's
Have you
touring the
watched that
state.
Touring
Touring the
Touring the
state.
state.
Yep, yep. So he and his staff are
Staff, yeah.
moving him around.
Yeah.
They got a tour of the Health and Wellness Center and lunch at West Bounding Down.
And she was.
So,
You're blind, not blind. I'm not used to seeing. Especially that.
Cheers, you remembered to bring your Diet
I
Pepsi.
did.
I remembered to bring my ginger.
I did, I needed a bigger can, but it was the
It's
only
a
one.
cute little baby.
Yeah,
can.
they're cute. Remember when Coors Beer years ago, this is in the '60s, came out with little 7-ounce cans of Coors?
Those are young to drink.
When, well, so was I. But mostly this was early 60s, maybe late 50s actually.
I've never had.
And my
Gives you a little more
father would
substance.
come home from work and he and mom would share one 7-ounce
I'm playing it
Oh.
on right now.
kitchen table.
I know, that's all you
And
can
tell each other about their day.
And I just try
And
not
my
to.
brother and I could listen, but we were.
Get up.
Their time, they would spend 20 minutes. Each drinking 3.5 ounces.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's cute.
That's how you take it.
3.2%. No, they used a juice glass.
Oh.
Divided.
Oh.
We
And it's
do.
a memory all
It's
this.
so much great.
Yeah.
And every time I have one of these cans, I think
That's what you think of.
it's interesting.
That's
Well, they
sweet.
remember.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Good for them. We are expecting, well, we're expecting rain.
Well, among others.
Guess it comes way across town, you know.
Yeah.
Is it hard to get things from where you guys live?
Sometimes, you know.
It's so far
Well, sometimes there's
away.
deer in the way.
Yeah, you
Yes.
you gotta leave early for, you know, traffic jams, exactly.
Yeah.
Traffic at the roundabout, you know.
No, there is a back road.
Yeah. But you can't go as fast, so it's a speed
Yeah,
limit.
you have to go slow.
Well, some people go
You're-
fast, but
They do.
it's not wise to do so.
No,
No.
not recommended. Hmm.
I think we should deliver the merits. We all need it. Well, then that clock needs to be changed, then that's what it is.
It's 5:59.
Okay.
Hmm.
Time.
Come on in.
You David and Brian?
David, all right.
The science show.
Done.
Like at the very-
We have an easel, we can, I can help you get it. Go when you're ready.
Ready for us? You ready?
Okay. Hey, Ron?
Hi.
Coming to the DRC.
What's happening?
Tremendous. Rob, I said, yeah, I used to find stuff at 7:45.
Do you wave to each other at that point?
Well, sometimes I get red pie outside.
Now, you guys still have the same number address, but on a different street?
We do know that. Okay. So we're.
Oh, the number
Yeah, 15 May will be 9:15.
Yeah.
It's the same,
But you
exact
can keep the
same thing.
15, you make sure that that gets.
No,
It just happens every, yeah.
I'll resend you.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the floor.
Well, it's nice to see you guys, you know.
Yes.
Well, maybe on Thursday, if you guys are on that.
No.
Yeah, we won't see you anymore.
Okay.
But you may see us in a couple of months, you know.
Another
I
time.
saw you guys on Zoom in the middle of COVID,
Okay.
Yeah.
so.
Sounds familiar?
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, see you Thursday.
We got a full house.
Rock and roll, dude.
Okay. While you're getting settled, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 6:02 PM on Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. And let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. I am Lynette Kelsey, Police Judge. Rob Connell.
Here.
Deanne Powell.
Here,
You're muted. There you go.
here. Can you hear me?
Is your, I can't hear you, Deanne.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry,
Hello?
I can't hear you. I'll come back. Work on it. John Jennings,
Here.
Paul Hengen,
Here.
Mary Smith, and Rich Barrows.
Here.
Is your microphone on?
Can you hear me? It was working before we started the meeting. I don't know what's going on.
Ben's gonna check on this end.
I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
Can you try to say something now, Deanne?
So I'm trying to say things and it says it's not muted.
Right, it's coming through now.
Okay,
So, awesome. Deanne Powell,
present.
thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, that's okay. Technical difficulties, everybody has them. Agenda approval, does anybody have anything they want to add or delete from the agenda?
Can I just add two staff, under staff items?
Okay,
If we could get an update on the tech plan or just the information that Jen was able to gather for the board and commission meetings. And then also, road maintenance.
What?
Road maintenance?
yes.
You know, that evil devil that comes
It's
up.
honest.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jerry.
I'd like to add to the executive session, there already is one, but add to it under subsection 4B, legal advice on lodging tax issues.
Okay. Does that mean we should we move our action item, our first agenda item to after the executive session, or does it
Yeah.
not need to be moved?
Go ahead and. Yeah, let's go ahead and move it to after the.
Okay.
executive session. Thank you. Because I will want you to come back out into the regular session
I
to
kind of
talk about that.
suspected.
Thank you for
Mhm.
noticing that.
Okay, anything else to add or change?
Sure.
Right, who would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make it.
Okay, Rich has the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and Rob has the second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Audience business. Members of the audience have 5 minutes to present any matter of interest not already on the agenda. Is that you?
That's me.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dana Abrahamson. My home address is 815 Crete. And I'm also a business owner. I have a coffee shop here downtown in the Mountain Buzz. And we're in the process, hopefully, of expanding the coffee shop to double its size and add an additional restaurant right now. And I lease to commercial tenants, small businesses, and I also lease to individuals. And I'm here to talk about the lodging tax.
Okay.
I've had a couple conversations in the last week or two, including with County Commissioner George Marlin. We spent a good amount of time together, an hour and a half, and he familiarized me with the county's intention to start using a good portion of the lodging tax revenues for affordable housing. I expressed to him, I like his plan. I think it's something the county should pursue. I think they've demonstrated again and again the need. It affects business owners, and we are having a hiring shortage. But I have to draw the line at using that lodging tax. And my feeling about it now is that, Fair Creek County Tourism had an opportunity a year ago, knowing the lodging tax revenue increases we were going to see due to the Mike Hotel here in Georgetown. That their website is all Idaho Springs. They're really promoting Idaho Springs, and they're using our money to promote Idaho Springs. There's just not much about Georgetown on there. And, I explained to George, I think branding us as Clear Creek County is not as effective as they might think it is. I think that works for Summit County probably, but Georgetown or Idaho Springs, people choose if they're coming. I'm raising my voice because they're better.
Yes.
But people choose if they're coming to Georgetown or Idaho Springs. They're not choosing to come to Clear Creek County. They probably don't come to both. And right now, Idaho Springs is crushing it, and we're not. And I can tell you, the summers have been really strong in downtown Georgetown. The winters are devastating. We lose many businesses. You watch them come and go. I watch them come and go. And I do a lot to keep them around. I cut rents in the winter time. I'm pretty active. I give them any piece of knowledge I might have from experience, and they can't make it. And I think that Georgetown needs its own branding effort using that money, and we have a different identity, very different from Idaho Springs. And we can really capitalize on that. I think we've really got to consider keeping that money, adding staff to promoting Georgetown, and establish our own identity in terms of marketing. Another thought that I shared with George, and I think would have an impact, I think as a downtown business owner, there are 3 things that are really important to us in terms of, drawing people downtown. The third is restaurants. We're trying, we're too small. Lucha was a huge loss to us. The Loop could not be more important. They do everything they can. They operate when they can. We're so appreciative. Winella Pass is huge. And I spoke to George about it. Winella Pass, we need to find a way to keep that open in the wintertime. And I wonder if there's maybe a point of negotiation around the lodging tax, some shared marketing effort that allows us to work together to maintain Winella Pass. I think we could use some of those funds to maintain our portion of it here at the bottom. The only maintenance numbers that the commissioners have gotten is from their own road and bridge department, and I think Greg is key to this. I think they can work together. Obviously, the first thing we need to find out is what's the cost gonna be. And then, let's just find out if it's doable. Maybe it's at least doable, through, the holidays or something. I mean, I don't know, usually I think it closes, is it closed before Thanksgiving? Mid-November. So I think keeping Winona Pass open, and even if it's closed on the other side, George made that point, absolutely fine. Most people drive up and come back down anyway. We want them to drive back down. So I just wanted to kind of suggest that. I brought it up many times over years. And now I think with the level of investment made in Winona Pass, I mean, I think it's much, much more doable to keep it maintained and open now than it would have been. So, those are just two things I'd maybe like to, see some forward motion on. I know the Winona Pass thing I know it's a big deal, and I know it's a lot of money, but I feel like maybe there's a way, and I really feel like it's worth it to downtown Georgetown.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Appreciate you bringing this forward. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any participants?
We do not.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have the payables from August 5th through August 18th, 2022. Any questions or comments on the payables?
Spending $147 in car washes for the cops. I don't want to see that car dirty.
Actually, I paid that
The
one
rain's
for like
open.
3 months.
That's 3 months?
I had to be.
Oh, okay, all right. I was gonna
It's
say,
multiple
if
washes.
that's in this pay period, I want those cars spick and span.
Well, we have a natural one right now.
Right. Not counting this one.
If there aren't any comments or questions on the payables, who would like to make a motion to approve these payables?
I'll make a motion to approve the payables from 8/5/2022 to 8/18/2022.
Second, John.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the payables. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we have the minutes of our last meeting, which was on August 9th, 2022. Any comments, corrections, additions? Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I make a motion to approve the minutes August 9th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of our August 9th, 2022 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. First item on our action item on our agenda is resolution number 12, series 2022, approving a special municipal election to be held during the Clear Creek County coordinated election. Oh, we moved this to the end. Sorry. And so we move on to agenda item number 2, which is release of agreement and promissory note for police academy training.
Okay, so I submitted my summary explaining what's going on. Has everyone had a chance to look and read it? Okay, well, I'm just going to highlight the portions. It's unfortunate. It's really sad to the town that we received this letter. I have had a lengthy conversation with Paul, trying my best to keep him. Mary Sims also had a long conversation in order to try to keep him because we need officers. And more importantly, we spent our taxpayers' money in order to go to training, police academy, to get him here. So we tried, extenuating opportunities to get an officer. And he has asked to be released of this commitment. And so I went through and thoroughly read the contract, sent it over to our attorney to thoroughly read it, to confirm what my suspicions were, which there's not an out. And so I give 3 or 4 reasons of why I don't believe that we should approve this or move forward. One is he did go through the entire training, and that was the out in the contract, that if he had an extenuating circumstance during training and it would have to be approved by us, then he could have withdrawn. Unfortunately, he did go through some hardships with his marriage and they ended up divorcing, but he continued through his training. The contract stated that if he signs it, then he's committing to repayment. I believe it's around $550 a month. Every month it goes down $550 all the way to 2 years. It's a 2-year commitment. If he serves 2 years, then it would be forgiven. And so in this case, he served 2 months and then resigned. And so based on that, and knowing that in our conversations with him, he plans to use his certification to continue to do police work other places as side jobs. So therefore, he's using the benefit that we gave him, and he understands this. And so because of that, I recommend that we do not approve his request. Any questions? Okay.
Well, if there are no questions on this topic, there is a recommended motion in the packet if somebody would like to make it.
I'll make that motion. I move to deny Mr. Wheelock's request to be released from the agreement and promissory notes for police academy.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny Mr. Wheelock's request to be released of the agreement and promissory note for police academy training. All in favor?
Seconded, please.
Aye. Aye.
Sorry, Deanne, what?
Who seconded, please? Thanks, John.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. The 2023 budget calendar is next. Needs our approval.
So I submitted budget. Any questions?
Okay. Again, there is a recommended motion in the packet.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve resolution 2023 budget calendar.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution. This isn't a resolution. Approve the 2023 budget calendar.
I'll amend my statement.
Hmm?
I'll amend it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll second.
okay. Friendly amendment.
I
Yes,
guess the only decisions that need to be made are the work sessions going to be done after your regular scheduled meetings, or are we going to have to schedule separate nights for that?
we've been doing it for a couple of years and it's been working quite well.
Yeah.
Better than I
It's been
think.
working, let's change it.
Well, but it makes for a somewhat long evening, so, there's grounds to be,
But it's tradition.
it's tradition, yeah.
Good point.
We've also done the other, made separate meetings. So, all right. I lost track. Okay, it's been moved, it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last year, we had a couple places where, say, for example, Mary Sims wasn't available. Are there conflicts like that with this one?
Canceled all of our vacation.
Dan, I don't believe I was unavailable for any of the budget sessions. I believe
Somebody
I-
was out of town, I remember, because I had a question last year and couldn't do it till the next time.
I think that was
Well-
Kent. That was when we were in influx with our town administrator. We lost Kent and Steve wasn't quite in yet and we started pushing through.
I do not have anything scheduled, so I will be there. I'm sure Rick will be there for all of them. I mean,
I mean, there's tradition though, so.
Okay.
Just leave early from all the way across town. I'll swing by and pick you up.
I'm gonna get moved by-
You can carpool. Yeah, right across the
That's
street from
true.
you.
That's true.
You can wait.
So how does that change your vote or?
No, as long as there isn't a conflict, I just couldn't find any place where it had discussed that.
Well, okay. So you vote to approve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, and agenda item number 3 is a contract for a prosecutor for Georgetown Municipal Court. And who wants? You want? Okay.
So this is the attorney that's part of the firm in which Courtney was involved in. Courtney has submitted a letter of resigning based on her own personal, she's having a second child and I think she's taking some time away. Robert has said that he will gladly take over as long as, Bob, no, Ronald, sorry. Ronald Carlson, he is gladly wanting to take over. He does have a couple conflicts in the beginning for a few months, and that is where we'll have Miss Attorney Kylie Whitaker, who will take over and just fill in the gaps. So she will just be an alternate for him. We had some discussion today in our staff meeting, just making sure he is thinking in line of us. And so I called him just to confirm that he is, his goal is to defend the town and not be his goal is not to be pleading everything down or dismissing cases. And I think that was some fears. So just to make sure that we're going to do our work. We don't want to waste our time if they're not going to see these cases. So he reassured that he would be doing these things and has every intention to being there and not having a replacement. So he will be the prosecutor coming to our cases. So just wanted to add that information to the case too.
Did you have anything to add, Jerry?
The rate is fair as compared with what I see in other cities, not only for the flat rate to prosecute the court date, but for the additional time. At $300 per hour, it's a little bit more than I charge the town, but it's also true that they don't charge travel time. Many attorneys do, and it's always, I think, offensive to elected members that have to drive to things when professionals do that. And I've always been appreciative of the fact that the Carlson firm doesn't do that. And so I think that works out. And you would only be paying that additional for some additional services that weren't contemplated in the regular scheme of things. It's a firm that's well informed and familiar with municipal court prosecution. And I support the contract. It's properly written and they've answered all my questions.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board? As my question would be, what date are we plugging in on this contract? Because it sounded like her resignation was effective the 23rd of September. And
Sure. What the real question is, what court date, Jen, is?
Court's always the second Friday.
Okay. And so do we expect her to attend?
I
Yeah.
think Kylie is doing August and September.
Okay. That's what I
I
was
have to
told.
double
as well.
check this week.
Then honestly, what I believe is I decided as of the first day of August, and we will make certain that there's not double payment. But if Kylie at Carlson's firm has been handling it, then the contract ought to cover that month.
August or September?
Well, if she was there for August, you're telling me yes, she was or wasn't, or do you?
I would have to ask Bettina, I don't do the
Okay.
board anymore.
All right.
Okay,
Um,
could we make it contingent upon
yeah, that's fine.
checking that?
Let's just have it effective as of the first date that they will appear
Okay,
for us. And if that's already happened, then great. And if it has yet to happen, then also great.
I mean, it's the same firm that we have now.
That's true, although that firm's kind of, I think, in the process of reorganizing is the problem.
yeah,
So I would just say as part of the motion that you make it effective as of the first date that the Carlson and Carlson firm, because that's the new name, would appear for Georgetown Court, whoever's going to make that motion.
okay. Is that agreeable to, is that making sense? It makes sense to me, so, okay. And yes, Deanne?
Is there any problem with it? They need, to be getting ready ahead of time, so we should have the date be a week before that court date.
Not in my opinion, no. This firm's really familiar already with, fair question. This firm's really familiar with the town's prosecution already. They won't need any time to ramp up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the professional services contract for municipal court prosecution with the change of effective as of the first
Court date.
of Carlson.
I'll second that.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the professional services contract for municipal court prosecution. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's move on to staff items. First is Strauss Park update, which you all have from Bob Hamilton. Any questions about the Strauss Park update?
Everybody's moving this. Don't have the agenda for this.
And I can give you an overview.
Sure. He's very detailed. It's really hard to summarize.
I believe that.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no questions, we will move on. The town administrator's report and task list.
So you have my task list and my report. You know it's raining again. I just got a text that our town is being flooded again right now. So roads and bridges are on it. The interstate continues to flood straight down to the visitor center and they are getting dumped on. So I just got a text. So it's a problem we're having. I reached out to CDOT yesterday. I know Randy's reached out to CDOT multiple times. Above the interstate, we have that fence that's full of debris. I called again concerned of like this, I'm not seeing any action or what's going on. They said that the fence is performing as designed and they have no plans to remove it at this point. No.
If that lets go, it's gonna kill somebody.
They said that they had guys up there and it is expanding the way it's designed to hold it. So it does look like that it's bulging, but that's the way they said it's designed to do. So they said after the rainy season, they will go up and figure out how they're gonna remove the debris and then fix the fence. So that's what I've been told. And I was put in my place. So just,
Well, Jerry, would you represent those people and for the liability?
No.
There you go.
Maybe it'll be before Emily.
do we have an engineer to explain?
Well, he's not going there.
But it is concerning and I have said we have been watching this closely and we don't want to see a situation happen.
So what about the runoff and the broken culvert or whatever. That's
Drain
rushing
pan,
into
yeah.
the visitor center. parking lot
So
all the time, so.
I'm not an engineer, but we have one in the house.
He is too.
It looks to me, I do evaluate and look at things, and it appears to me that the problem is the ADA section, where it has a curb, the water's coming down the curb, and then the open spot is where the water's coming in for the ADA ramp area, and it's going straight to the least path of resistance to the area where there's a basement and the water's going in straight into there. So it is CDOT's responsibility. We have graciously tried to come along the side and saying, what can we do to help you? Paul is grateful that we have put sandbags up. Our crew has put sandbags up, and we also put several bucketfuls of road base at that area where it's coming in and down by his basement to try to create a berm in a sense. So we are trying to help, but it's like happening now every day.
I
Or
understand
every
that.
other.
What is CDOT's response as far as repairing or taking any action? with
They just said that
drainage area? I mean,
they-
their part on the.
Correct, because we were gonna put a berm up earlier and CDOT said, no, we'll take care of it. It wasn't done, and so we decided to put something up there, but Paul had communicated directly with CDOT, who said they will be responsible for taking and maintaining that site.
Do we think that any of this problem is due to that first event that probably filled up all of the drainage there at the interchange, and therefore the water stays on the surface instead
So
of being
I talked to him about
directed
that.
away?
Good question. I talked to him yesterday about that. They had cleared out where it had got clogged. So they cleared that drain out right by the culvert where the water comes straight down. I was there yesterday. Also, I observed when we had the hailstorm, I went out there in the middle of it. One of the issues at the mill site, they were saying that water was a water jet cannon that was going across. Well, that did not happen. So I'm just confirming, our crew had said that that's not true. I did not observe that either. It was performing as, designed. So water was going into the creek, and water on the other side of Rose Street, is that Rose, 15th and Rose, was coming into the creek as designed. So it was working as designed. So that should put to rest some of that. But it was,
What was the jet cannon?
they were saying that from this big weather event that happened about a month
Was in
and a half, 2
July.
days, yeah,
In
that the
July.
water was so, intense that the water from the interstate came through the roundabout, went into the drains, wherever, and then the pipe that's underneath the roundabout dumps right there at Clear Creek, and that's right behind that gas station. They were saying that the water was so intense that it was going across the stream, and it had carved into the berm, and that's why the berm was carved out, that it had destroyed that, which that's not true either.
Oh.
That we, after doing research, that was carved in by design to keep the runoff from Rose Street to come down into that. So it's a little investigation, but we're dealing with, like I said, I was bombarded with issues. And after doing some research, that's just not true. But we are still watching the situation because water is still flooding the mill site, the condos, so it's still happening.
Can we escalate this with CDOT at all? I mean,
I have tried to have meetings with them.
I don't know.
I'll continue
You
to
just
try.
said you were put in your place. I mean, what is it?
Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you back down.
Tell me a little more about that. Do we have to get involved? or-
No, I think we're still,
I'll fucking walk right.
I think we're okay right now. Yeah. So anyway, that's the cream that's risen right now of the issues that we're dealing with. And I have spent a lot of time, and I hope that everyone's had a chance to read the salary survey. And so we'll talk about that later, but that has been probably consumed a lot of my time getting ready for that.
Mary was hoping to get an update on road maintenance. This might be a good time.
It's an excellent statement.
Yeah.
Since it's being washed out every time we turn around.
Yeah. So road maintenance is something that we're looking at constantly. We have a long list. even today in our staff meeting, we had a gentleman that lives off of Skyline came down and was telling us that his road is getting worse. It's carving into the road now where it's going to get to the point where people cannot walk down it anymore. So immediately after that, we had Scooter and his crew go up there and see what he can do to try to grade or just come up with a plan. So we have a long list that we're working on. We're going to hire another guy, I think by September 1st, if I'm not mistaken, Mary, for Brian.
He starts September 1st.
But September 1st, yeah. So we're hiring another guy who's experienced coming from the county. He's already left the county, but he is ready to come for us. That will be another guy that we'll have to start addressing some of our roads. Grading is a major issue, especially on the roads that are going up the mountains. So Bluebird, Alliance, Skyline, always having issues. So any specific questions?
Well, Skyline was specific because Jerry Fabiana called me after or before I think he was successful and came in here and had a conversation with you and your staff. He is very appreciative of what was done. He said Scott and the crew went out there and worked for a couple hours, and so he was very appreciative of that. And we all know this comes up time and time again. And yes, I know it's manpower also, but with budget coming up, can we perhaps look at some comprehensive engineering plan, hiring this on some kind of a project so that we aren't just continuously putting these Band-Aids on that we have, for the last umpteen bazillion years and will continue to do so. It'd be nice if we saw improvement. Slowly, I know, I mean, we've got a lot of roads, but,
I agree. So currently, because of so much rain that we've had, the crews have been exhausted filling problems right now. So they're like in urgent mode. Once we can get off urgent mode, then we can start tackling some of these items that we're on wanting to get done. I'll say this before the board. It is my highest priority right now is to get our roads straightened out. Besides the salary study, those two are my biggest things because we can't sustain like this. They're in really bad condition.
were you able to locate the road engineering plan, let's call it because I don't know exactly what it was, that Kent Brown had alluded to that had been done a few years back, and he was bringing that to this, like I say, this conversation comes up time and time again. But apparently maybe one within the last 10 years. Do you remember the town putting something like that together?
I do.
I would imagine that some of it would probably still be pertinent to what the conditions are now.
I'll find it.
Take a look at it, and refresh it, or dust it off,
Yeah.
implement it.
Do something.
Thank you.
Yes.
But Jerry was very appreciative. Again, I wanted to express that and he wanted me to indicate that to you and Scott and the staff that he was, greatly appreciative.
Yeah. I think some of the big issues that we're seeing with our roads is there's portions of them that have the millings that have been pressed and sealed in a sense, so they're hard, and other parts are not. And so you can't just put road base on it and it's just going to wash right back out again. So I know. So this is my understanding that they've showed me the issues. And so one of the things is when he went down Skyline, either can we take a grader and remove all of it? Well, now we're starting over and we have to come up with a plan of how we're going to maintain that, because the water's just going to carve right back into it. So it is something that we're looking at. And I appreciate you saying that, because I'll go back and find what Kent had done. Instead of starting all from scratch, we'll have something to look at. So, cool. Anybody else have any questions?
Okay.
Great.
Wonderful. Mary had also asked what kind of technical updates you could give us.
So I'm gonna meet with Paul with Axiom tomorrow. That's our IT guys that work with us. So he's gonna try to help us. So I'll know more after that.
Okay, I thought it was a week or two ago, but that was, okay. No, I thought that meeting had already taken place. So I
Well,
thought-
I did meet with Open Media, who is the company that helped us get our meetings streamed on the internet.
Yeah,
And the guy's it's kind of out of his scope of work, he's come up here a couple of times, and that was the last guy that I worked with, yeah. And then I thought, okay, and then I just thought, why don't I just ask our IT guys? If anybody knows of somebody that could help, I mean, I'm open.
okay. Just to throw out there, and I know we're all familiar with that boardroom at the old school. I happened to be over there for a meeting yesterday, and we could fit our board meeting in there with audience, you know, lined up against, I mean,
All
a
two of
cast
them?
of thousands. If we needed an alternative location for a while, so.
I mean, can Deanne, let's ask Deanne if she can hear, just gotta remember.
Yeah, how's it working tonight?
Yes, Deanne?
I would like to suggest that until we get the sound problem solved, we return to Zoom meetings only because they provide excellent recordings. You can hear everybody, see everybody as long as it's the windowed board. And it's just 100% better. And we already have the technology to do that. It's not going to involve running down to the Heritage Center or something.
Okay,
It worked great for the last couple years, you know.
well, my own personal preference is in-person meetings whenever possible, and, so, just saying.
And then
Go
for
ahead.
next year, for the 2023 budget, they have their setup, I wanna look into estimating out for us. It's like a Zoom room, and I've been looking at it a little bit, and just, yeah. If their setup does work really well, we should have something like that too. I know other places are having problems too, so like Lynette was saying, the county, even with their IT tech guy in the room, it's like a new thing, so. But, can you hear us, Deanne?
Tonight I can. Every once in a while, again, the timbre of Mary's voice isn't the best for the recordings, but I can hear everybody else.
Okay,
Cool.
okay, that's great.
Mary Smith, or Mary Sims? I thought she was
All right. Okay, anybody else have anything for staff items?
Well, I have one more on your zoning restriction.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
That's
yes.
okay.
Zoning
So
restrictions.
I just want to give an update. We continue to try to find documents from that past, just to give us insight of what was proposed, what was being worked on, what was submitted. And it seems to me that when I dug into it, that it came from the planning commission suggesting this. There was never a vote during that time, but it was brought to the Board of Selectmen in order to consider this. It was in discussion and it was tabled. And so that there was a suggested ordinance that was proposed. I have sent this to Jerry for his review. We are not at any point ready to bring anything back to you to say this is what first reading is or anything like that. But we are digging into it, and hopefully, under your recommendation, if you want us to bring something for a code change, then we are willing to do that.
Well, personally, I think since the problem did not go away, it was the hope at the time, if memory serves, was that the motel owners and managers would do a better job of policing this themselves and controlling their guests, and they have not. And it sounds like I think without more effort on their part, I think it's time to put ordinances on the books to control it. Because, and we're not the only municipality that's got this. I mean, Denver's got long range stay problems. Idaho Springs has it. And I don't want our police department burdened by excessive calls that can be controlled in other means, and it's not reasonable. I don't want to start pushing people out onto the street and making them live in their cars, and moving the cars from place to place just to stay under the radar, but it seems like a reasonable thing to do, to put an ordinance on the books to try and keep this managed.
I agree with that. I remember the original conversation, so I haven't given them a chance. And I think we should direct the staff to pursue this.
I agree. I think this will be a step in the right direction for us to have, so enforcement they have something behind it. And if we're looking at something else down the line, this is the first step to clean up what we already have.
I have another comment too.
Yes.
While doing this, it's made me go back to look at the short-term rental ordinance as well. And we had one that just came available for Ward 2, so I was going really deep into it. And I was surprised not to find a trash plan that should be submitted. And the reason why I'm saying it is because I also caught wind from someone who did trash maintenance for short-term rentals during that time, and they were informed that many were managed by a company who told them directly to put it in the town's trash. So we can close that loophole by putting in a trash plan that if you don't have a trash plan, I'm sorry, you're not going to be authorized for this. So you have to pay for trash maintenance to be part of your plan if you don't. So I'd like to, under your direction, to get Jerry to add a clause to include a trash plan.
Good with that.
Okay. All right, any other comments, questions? Yes, Dan?
I'd sort of like to revisit the short-term rental thing in a future meeting and actually drop the total amount down and let, I guess I'll call it attrition, take care of getting rid of them. But I think our percentage is far too high for the size of our population. And that theoretically should open up to long-term rentals or selling of the places to locals or whoever, whatever. But I think we have too many short-term rentals allowed now.
Okay. There's been a lot of discussion on the percentages and total numbers, and yeah, it's worth reopening the discussion. Anything else under staff items? Okay, I think we're ready for executive session then.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay.
I have a motion.
Okay, I'll read slow.
We're checking this. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Overstay.
We're just discussing.
Don't forget your sign.
I move to go into executive session under Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402, subsection 4B and F, for a conference with the town attorney, town administrator, and town treasurer to receive legal advice on a personnel matter, town staff salary survey, and for legal advice on lodging tax issues. I further move to return to the open meeting for the purpose of taking any actions deemed necessary.
Second,
Hey, John, beat you.
John got the second in before you, Deanne. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Give it 10 minutes.
And you have the link to the executive session, Deanne, right?
yes, ma'am.
And then you got the second link to go back to the meeting?
That I'm not sure of, but I do have the
Check your
link.
email. It's gonna send you another link, so we to return back to the meeting too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, see you in a bit.